YouTube world, back at it once again. Instant Classic 8. Instant Classic 8, back at it once again. I know it's been over a year, but I'm still here, lurking, seeing what's going on. I'm still watching wrestling, of course. And there's some exciting things happening in pro wrestling. Some very, very exciting changes potentially coming through. And I want to talk about a lot of this stuff. I know the last time I left off on here, the companies, your big companies, were going back on the road between AEW and WWE, so that was a really exciting times. Obviously, we're about a year after crowds coming back, and I can tell you that I will still always prefer having a crowd over not having a crowd. I will go on Twitter, and you'll see these people who will talk about missing the Thunderdome, and I saw someone's tweet who claimed that he was a promoter and that he thought the Thunderdome was better than having fans. These are the fans that you should not listen to at all. It's been very exciting to have the crowds back, and even a year in, you're still excited to see some of the sizes of these crowds, that we've seen over the past year, and it's been very exciting. And again, there's a lot of exciting stuff. Even though you can see from like the title, I don't really have a lot of interest in talking about WWE at the moment. I just don't think it's a good use of my time, I guess you will say. But there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and I want to give my thoughts. So I do have thoughts on certain things. Speaking of that, I have not been completely idle when it comes to the YouTube talking about wrestling atmosphere. I have done multiple videos on other folks' channel, whether it be my good friend Josh, True Slayer, done videos with him on his channel, and then on someone else's channel as well. And then also Doug from RVD Tito for Life. He does the show Live Rounds every Tuesday with another good buddy of mine, Steven Jensen. And they've invited me on a couple times. I want to say I've been on that show for like 3 or 4 times. And I've always had a good time on there. So if you want to hear my thoughts in like audio form, you can go seek those out. Again, they're out there. Obviously, I'm still on Twitter. All I really do is tweet about wrestling, just live tweeting if I'm watching Dynamite or whatever random show that might be on. That's pretty much what my Twitter consists of nowadays. So you can still be able to hear my thoughts if you are interested. I appreciate the guys who've kind of stuck around, those who will still click on this video when something pops up. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you so much. But again, the purpose of this particular video is I wanted to talk about WWE and my thoughts on, how things are going. I think obviously the first thing to talk about is Vince. Vince is gone from the company for the most part. He still's got shareholder stocks and all that stuff. But when it comes to the stuff that we care about, that we as fans care about the most, like the creative side, the character side, anything in regards to the on-screen product, he is gone. And this day could not have come any sooner. I've been checked out on WWE for 4 or 5 years, to be honest with you. I was even thinking to myself, I haven't been to a WWE show, a live show, since 2017. I went to a SmackDown. This was July of 2017. It was one of the last shows they had at the Richmond Coliseum before it got closed down. I only went because I had free tickets for my buddy one of his friends didn't go, so I took it. And I just remember sitting in that seat and not caring about anything that was going on. There was a person in front of me who had a big cardboard sign, and most times I would be not necessarily upset, but try to figure out a way to either look around the sign or, give them a tap and be like, hey, somebody's behind you trying to watch this. I didn't care about that. I sat in my seat. I don't remember getting up at all. And that was a big clicking point for me to understand that I don't really care about this stuff anymore. And it's only that feeling has only grown over the last couple of years, especially, with the indies heating up, obviously the creation of AEW coming along, New Japan being on fire. There was just no need for me to watch. And, obviously NXT was there for me to watch kind of weekly. It'd be my weekly show, which I'll get into that a little bit here in a second. But I just had no interest in them. And Again, 2019, I didn't watch any of the shows. I just kind of read like results, and things just seemed not good at all. And obviously going into the pandemic and just some of the worst professional wrestling, that they can create. And it was all because of Vince. And we have been screaming for a very long time for Vince to get out of the seat. I think Vince is overrated when it comes to his input in professional wrestling. I know a lot of people will go out there and say because of Vince they are wrestling fans. Personally, I don't have to say that, which I enjoy. I grew up in an era where there were two prominent wrestling companies, and with WCW, that's where I started watching. And it wasn't until probably a whole year until I really started to watch the WWF. So I'm not going to say that I'm here because of Vince. I think, if anything, Vince has probably pushed me away to professional wrestling more than anything. He's, pushed me to learn about other companies, other promotions, other wrestlers, and honestly, that's something I guess I could say I appreciate. Is he's so bad at his job that it pushed me to find other stuff to watch and be into. But again, I think Vince is kind of overrated when it comes to his creative input in wrestling. A lot of the stuff that he created, with a lot of the top stars that we've seen, legends of the business, he nearly screwed them up. That's all on his watch. And a lot of these people, they were just really, really quality wrestlers, and they were able to kind of break through what Vince McMahon kind of put in front of them, and was able to kind of turn that around and become superstars. No need to go through them. You guys know the stories on that for sure. But again, I think he's overrated with a lot of aspects, and we've been hoping for this to happen for a very long time. And unfortunately, it has to be crappy situations when it comes to borderline rapist allegations, and it's just a lot of garbage in regards to him. But I don't think anyone was surprised. And the news came out that he has this quote retirement. Obviously, he was just kind of forced out of his position, but it seems like he's just completely gone. And again, that's probably been the most exciting news to have ever happened to professional wrestling, to be honest with you. And I don't know where we go from here. I can say that I am not excited, but I'm definitely, kind of keeping an ear more to what's going on. Like, I will gladly read the results. Maybe I'll watch YouTube clips here and there. I don't think the weekly show is anything worth watching, just to be honest with you. But I don't watch, so, I have to hear from other people who have to tell me that these shows are good to watch. But a 3-hour Raw just seems like a task that I don't want to take a part of, and I don't want to, have to do every week. So now at this point with me, I haven't been watching WWE. I am more in line to maybe watch the pay-per-views and kind of check those out each month. I know a lot of people have kind of switched their WWE viewing to that, but I haven't. I've kind of cut them off. I watch little stuff here and there, but for the most part, I have just kind of cut them off from watching anything. But again, I'm a little bit more open to maybe checking out the pay-per-views, and or what do they call them shits now? The premium live events. It's not a bad name. It just doesn't roll off the tongue like pay-per-view. But either way, Hunter is somewhat in charge now, at least, again, for the part that we care about, the creative aspect, maybe booking the shows. Hunter is in charge, and, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. For me, going back to speaking about NXT from late 2013 all the way up until, sometime in 2019, my weekly show that I enjoyed watching each week was NXT, and I like the fact that it was only 1 hour. It was taped, which means they couldn't change stuff on the fly, so things for the most part made sense. And they were easily watched shows. I didn't have to watch them on Wednesday nights each time. You can I would sit through and watch 2, 3, 4 episodes at once. And obviously it gets you straight for the takeovers, and those takeovers were fantastic. Everyone knows some of the best wrestling shows of this generation. And I was a big fan of that. Obviously, the creation of AEW in 2019, going to TNT, now TBS, AEW, NXT, they moved from the network over to USA Network, the WWE Network to the USA Network, and they expanded from 1 hour to 2. And I thought that was not good when it comes to NXT. And then from there, they just became a reactionary device to AEW, and I know people will say that wasn't the case, but it was clearly the case. A lot of hot shot booking that they did, nothing, at least in my opinion, the part where I just got completely turned off was when they gave the title to Keith Lee, and well, they gave him the North American title, then he won the NXT title, and he was the double champion, and they took the belt away from him like the next week and did like a tournament, and it was clearly just a hot shot moment. This was in response to Fyter Fest, and that was their Great American Bash. And for me, that was like the for sure like I don't like this anymore, and I didn't care, and I went ahead and turned it off. And obviously NXT with no crowd, which the crowd was the biggest part of them, Full Sail, and obviously being into the takeovers and whatnot. But the crowd helped the show a lot, and not to have that crowd in a pandemic, that show became a chore to watch, and I did not enjoy it anymore. And I stopped watching it. And another reason why I stopped watching was because the characters that you sit there and invest time in when they move up to the main roster, they just squander away, or they're not used to their potential, what you would have liked to have seen on there. And it was a big turnoff as a fan. You spend that time and you just feel like you're wasting it. And I stopped wasting my time, and I turned off NXT. So y'all say Hunter is back. Hopefully he's good. I know he had a little health scare early this year, so hopefully everything is good with him. I'm hoping when it comes to how he takes the product, I do hope that it's more aligned with what he did on NXT with the WWE network versus what he did on the USA network. So only time will tell. I mean, I've seen he's been bringing people back, people that were let go before. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. A lot of those people I don't necessarily care for, but maybe the fan base will. I thought that and I'm going all over the place, sorry, but I thought his quote the other day about wrestling being in like smoky bars and like bingo halls and all that stuff before Vince came along, I thought that was kind of BS, but it's the company line, and what do you expect him to say? But you just hope that Hunter. That Hunter cares about wrestling way more than Vince. Vince never cared about wrestling, and you're fooling yourselves if you ever think that. The man did everything he could to be away of wrestling and make himself into something bigger than wrestling, whether it be the freaking the bodylifting stuff that he did. He tried to start football twice. Obviously, all of the garbage movies that they've produced. He tried a lot of stuff on there. And I don't think Hunter is that person. I think Hunter is about the wrestling, and that is exciting. And I said, like, bare minimum stuff just to kind of get started. Like, your matches should have finishes. Like, you watch AEW, and granted they got ref issues every now and then, but you're gonna get a clean finish for the most part, and that's something that I like in my wrestling. And I remember a week or so, maybe, I don't know, the Raw, like the week of or the week before, or maybe 2 weeks before Vince left, I just went on the Observer and just read the Raw results, and there were 2 matches back to back that both of them went like less than, I think, like 5 or 6 minutes, and they were both DQ finishes back to back. And it's just like, I don't understand I do not understand how you guys who are watching this, I don't understand how you sat through that. Like, it feels like so insulting, man. It's such a waste of time, and I just don't understand how y'all did it. But either way, I'm hoping that Hunter does not have those issues going forward. Again, I'm not excited to see where the product's going, but I am keeping an ear out. And hopefully the product, hopefully it changes, and hopefully things will improve. I think that professional wrestling, the landscape of pro wrestling, would be a lot better if the top dog in the business were. I mean, they're financially great, but, they are critically bankrupt right now, critically embarrassing. And if they can get that and fix that part and become more watchable, I think that's only going to help out pro wrestling altogether. So hopefully Hunter does well. Best of luck to him. I'm not rooting against him like some people are, but, we'll see what happens. As far as this year, I mean, I've watched a decent amount of stuff as far as big shows. I haven't watched any episodes of Raw or SmackDown. I've tuned in for a little bits here and there. Let's see. The Royal Rumble was awful. One of the worst I've ever had to sit through. Just boring. It's not even bad. It was just boring. And it was really, a microscope on the current product, or how none of these guys are over, and a lot of them are not very good in the ring as well. So I thought that show was terrible. I thought WrestleMania was a really good show. I thought night one was like borderline fantastic. I've mentioned this before. I think for a long time I've said that the last great WWE show was WrestleMania 31. That show was great, like above great. Honestly, it was a really awesome show, and I think that was their last great WWE show. If you think there was something better than that since or on the same par, please let me know, because I just don't see it. So yeah, I thought that was the last great WWE show, but I did think that WrestleMania, whatever the hell this one was called, I don't know the numbers anymore, but I thought 38, I think. I thought that night one was fantastic, between the awesome Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair match, between the entrances and the match itself. I thought that was awesome. I thought that Logan Paul had a pretty good showing on that show. I was very surprised at that, and was pretty, I was impressed, to be honest with you. Considering Dominic just sucks, man. Get Dominic out of there. He's so bad. But yeah, between that, obviously Cody, I haven't mentioned it. Cody leaving AEW to go to WWE. It was really surreal. Like, I sat here on my couch, just like almost crying with laughter, of just like, not necessarily laughter, like just it was very surreal to see a child of the Monday Night Wars, myself, who have seen two prominent companies, and you see guys go back and forth. That was really exciting to see, and the fact that it was Cody Rhodes, like his gimmick and his entrance and the music and everything about him was the same. It was really, really awesome to see, and I think that's something I want to see more when it comes to wrestling. I didn't watch during the pandemic of WWE, but like the fact that former Aleister Black had that angle with, I forgot whoever it was, where something happened to his eye, and he brought that over to his character for AEW, and is still expanding on that. Even though I'm not into the spooky, goofy stuff like that, man. I do not like it. I think it sucks for everyone, all in wrestling. I don't like the spooky stuff, but I think that's cool. I guess what continuity is the word that you'll say. I don't know. I think that's really awesome, and to see Cody kind of go through that same thing, it was really fantastic to see. Austin came back, which was surprising. Like, no one even, like, this year Stone Cold Steve Austin came in the wrestling ring and no one's talking about it, but it was cool to see that. And in night two, I thought the main event was kind of underwhelming, but Pat McAfee, I thought it looked good. Some other stuff happened, and yeah, I thought WrestleMania was a fun show. The only thing I've really seen since that was the women's Money in the Bank match. I watched that and was bored and turned it off. And then I watched SummerSlam. And SummerSlam was a wacky show. I thought SummerSlam was fine. I know the spectacle of that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns match was it was a lot, for sure. But I thought it was interesting. No one can do that except WWE, at least at that level. So that was really cool. I didn't really see the big change that everyone swears that they're seeing right now with Hunter taking over. But, it's going to take some time, so we'll see that. But again, for those few shows that I watched, the majority of it, I thought it was fine. It's not necessarily where it's saying like I want to watch every week or watch every pay-per-view, but again, I'm more open to doing that, and I'm excited to see where things are going with them. Hopefully, hopefully they can get to a point where they're like above watchable. And again, I don't really need to see that when it comes to the weekly show, because at this point, I'm really only going to watch, when it comes to weekly, I'm only going to really watch Dynamite and Rampage. But if they can get to the point where like the fan base is like exciting, and I want the fan base to be genuine. I feel like a lot of people were disingenuous. People are talking about how awesome, quote unquote, the product is right now with Hunter taking over, but they said the same thing when Vince was there, and it just makes me think, like, were you telling the truth, or were you just kind of being, But either way, hopefully things turn out well with WWE. They've brought back people that they fired. They're bringing up fresh talent, Io Shirai and Dakota Kai, and Bayley's come back, and I would assume Sasha would end up going back, her and Naomi. So and that's really exciting to see. And eventually, we're gonna have more people from the AEW side are gonna jump ship and go to WWE, and that's gonna be really exciting. And eventually, WWE is gonna get too many people, and then they're gonna have enough spots, and those people are gonna go to AEW, and that's gonna be really cool. And you're gonna see a lot of these people pop up in New Japan, and yeah, man, just I think this is gonna be a super exciting time when it comes to wrestling. It's all because Vince McMahon is gone. So let me know what you guys are thinking. I do have some other videos that are going to be recorded here soon. I do want to talk about AEW, but I think I want to wait until after Dynamite tomorrow, because Tony Khan is hyping up a lot of good stuff. So I will be back soon to speak about that and just to talk about how I feel about how things are progressing when it comes to AEW, because obviously they are the main product that I watch right now. So you'll get plenty of thoughts on me with that, and hopefully I can be able to kind of keep these up, even if I hit you guys with like, quick 5-10 minute thoughts in here and there. I definitely want to be able to talk more about wrestling, because again, this is an exciting time right now. I'm gonna let you know what you guys think. Until then, I'll speak to you guys later. Instant Classic 8. Peace.